The question is, do we think that's an indication Kyrie regrets leaving LeBron's side? I'm not going to go first. I'm going to let y'all go first.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't think he regrets leaving LeBron. I think he regrets how he responded to LeBron in that moment. But those are two different things. I think he's now owning up to the fact that, God, I mean, Kyrie's 26 right now. Like, LeBron James comes into your building and you're 23. I mean, we have to respect in our maturation that we walk, we jog, we run. And even when you're running as a leader, there's still gears to shift to go even faster, be even better as that same leader. He's just hitting a different gear right now, and respect for him for exercising that demon that was the regret of how I responded to you, LeBron, and calling LeBron himself personally and taking all that fire back. Respect for him for doing that.
Okay, first of all, he's 22, and
22, even younger.
We're 21 and 22. The decisions that we made in life, some of those we wish we could get back. Mm-hmm. Now, I appreciate the opportunity for you to let us go first because it's going to be rare in life. We might not get it back. But I equate that to the growing pains of leadership. And he was going through a tough time. He saw how he reacted on TV. He knew it was wrong. He looked in the mirror and said, I'm wrong for this. But when he started looking in the mirror, he was like, you know what? That was me. And that's the things that I did. And I equate that to he was always going to regret it. I knew he was always going to regret it. Two great people. It wasn't that he wasn't a good person, a good kid. It was just the fact that he was given so much at that point in time. He was an all-star. He had his own shoe. He thought he had figured it out. He was on his way. No, I'm talking about before that. Oh. When he was trying to get these lessons from LeBron, he was so resistant because he thought he had this thing figured out. And LeBron had a little patience with him, was like, listen, there's some things that I can give you, but you have to listen and take it. And that's what their friction was. I always knew he was going to regret it, but I thought it was going to be later in his career when he understood, kind of like as parents with our kids. Our parents yelled at us and told us we couldn't have these things, and we don't sit back and understand those things until we have kids and we look at them and tell them these things, understood why our parents was taking these things away from us. Yeah. And it's awesome that he can admit that right now and give thanks and go ahead and apologize because that shows his growth and his maturity.
Let's be sure it's regret and not a shot at his young teammates in Boston. What if he's really trying to say it's really more of a message to them? It's a way of saying these kids are acting the way that I did when I was in Cleveland, and now I'm the best player here, and these guys won't follow my leadership the way I wouldn't follow LeBron's. What if it's not regret, it's more of a message to his current teammates?
It's a message, but it's a message that I have to step up and be more responsible. He's not putting all the blame on them. He's saying, you know what, I have to be what Bron was for me. And that was on the daily be responsible for my teammates, on the daily be responsible for my actions, on the daily bring it, on the daily lead. That consistent level of leadership is what he's speaking to.
Let me scoot over here next to Whitlock. You got me thinking over here. And you know one of the things about clout chasing, and I'm not saying Kyrie needs to clout chase LeBron, but in that matchup, LeBron got more clout. You get in a conversation that is of higher status, it's a higher magnitude. So now Kyrie is putting himself in a LeBron discussion in terms of leadership, right or wrong, who's a better leader? We know that answer. But he's in that discussion, separating himself from the players he just dissed. Why are you going on record talking about you talk to LeBron as a leader to say this is how I learned how to deal with you? They've been saying keep it in-house. They've been saying don't criticize us to the media. And now your apology and the credit is going out to the media. If I were that other player, Jaylen Brown especially, I'm sitting there like, bruh, you saying a lot to them and we need to hear more to us, wouldn't you?
Well, yes, he's speaking to the media, but he also embarrassed them to the media as well. So it's kind of like you have to give your apology to them in private and in public because your actions spoke 1,000 words that you really can't take back unless you give it to him.
A little suspicious, like just a little reasonable doubt. Like
I'm not because he's putting them in a perspective of a mistake that he made, and he's giving you a storyline, not just the words. He's giving you like, I was this, I chose this, I kind of ran from the leadership and what I was being taught. And I don't want this to happen to us. I want to be able to be responsible with them because he's seen some of his inconsistency in his leadership.
Should Zion consider shutting it down?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're seeing it right now in football. You're starting to see the numbers increase, including the number one draft choice potentially in 2019, and Nick Bosa, we're starting to see guys like, hey, man, if situations arise where, A, I know my draft position relatively is high, and B, I have something to deal with in terms of injury or anxiety towards the injury, then I'm going to tap out. Guys are missing bowl games, important games. Guys are just saying, hey, there are too many workout gurus who can give you as much as you want off the field, off the court, as you can on the court when the NCAA is forcing these kids to meet their minimum requirements to go to the next level. If I am already satisfying that in terms of me being a prospect, what am I doing out there playing against Akron or whatever it may be? I'm not doing that. I'm not risking it. I'm here with a means to an end. I'm keeping my eye on the prize, and if it's to go pro and I already qualify, what am I doing in this collegiate
Dahntay,
experience?
before you fire, I just want you to know, Coach K is watching. I talked to him before the show. Go ahead.
Why he doesn't quit is because it shows something about your character. And you signed up for something. You could have not went to college. You could have went prep, and you could have waited till you're 19. You could have gone to another school and done this. But he went to Duke because he obviously wanted to be a part of something special. He chose to play with players who are in his light. So guys who are looked at in the top 5 in the draft because he wanted to be a part of something special. So if you quit, you show about your character if you can lead an NBA team when things may not be in your favor. And I think he is more high character than that. Not if he went to Duke or if he went to the other school. You'd be quitting on an institution. You'd be quitting on your teammates. You'd be quitting on a process of getting better and learning more about basketball.
You used the word quit about 4 times when I know that they forced him to sign into this situation.
You didn't have to sign. You could have went overseas.
Okay.
You had many routes to go to. You chose to go. He could have went to Clemson. He could have went to some other schools where he could have been the man and got to be the number 1 pick. He chose to go to a school that was going to fight for a national championship.
Right,
so he wanted to go to the NCAA tournament and probably fulfill one of his dreams.
The pressure that is put on his hand and that pen to sign there, we know is to optimize your opportunity. And he has optimized it and he has fulfilled it, to me, enough where he could get into the NBA draft and get picked. Give you a case in point. High character guy, Trevor Lawrence. Wall Street Journal wrote an article saying he needs to sit out the next 2 years. Trevor Lawrence, if he sits out the next 2 years, is still going to be a top 10 pick, maybe number 1 pick. Why go through the rigors? And people don't think of basketball as a physical sport. Ask his teammate. Ask Zion.
I'm sure the person who wrote that Wall Street Journal has never played an inch of college athletics or played it at that light. He is one of the things that we are not. The number 1 pick in the NBA draft.
Right.
So he's going to be that regardless. But
so why play?
But you cannot get back experiences. And playing in college basketball and playing for a national championship is an experience that I can't replace with anything else.
Boy, that sounds like, look, you keep your eye on the prize. If your goal is to go pro, don't get caught in this sitcom.
But some people, see, and that's why I explain this whole Duke dynamic. People think that you go to Duke for something else but you go for the experience. You go to play for Coach K. You go to be a part of something. You just don't go just to be the number 1
So why
pick.
do you leave it in a one-and-done situation?
Because you met
the minimum requirement.
You go to learn. There's a minimum requirement, but it's not all the NCAA that it's your minimum requirement. Guys are taking other paths. You could go make more money and take another path. So it's not the only path right now. So if you take on that jersey, you want to go for a year. It may not be 4 years. You want to go learn, you want to go play, and you want to go be a part of something. And I think that's what he went for because he's having a blast. He gives energy. The one thing I like about the kid, he plays hard regardless of what he is on a draft board. He's giving life to his teammates. He's trying to learn and be better and be a more well-rounded basketball player, and that comes with more reps. And I don't think the injury that happened to Trey Jones, I don't think it's going to happen to that bulldozer.
All right, let me say this. I agree with both of you.
But I agree with him, too, though. I understand his perspective, and I'm not saying he's wrong.
Awesome points about, hey, man, you could have went to South Carolina.
Right.
But you went to Duke to play for a national championship. You wanted the whole Duke experience. You want to be part of the Duke family. But I totally agree with you. Quitting, to me, isn't what he would be doing. Taking care of himself and his family is what he would be doing if he chose to step away. And then the other part of me wants this whole amateurism system destroyed. And so I love seeing these kids pull the rug out from underneath these schools and universities that are making money off them. They need to figure out a way to compensate these pro-level players, the upper echelon players, while they're in college, to take this pull away from them. Compensate them. The NBA, the NFL should work with these universities to take care of these guys while they're in college the ones with great pro prospects.